Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to show you how to get rid of weeds in short prairie grasses. One thing I do is every time I walk past here or through here, if I see a weed, I'll pull it out and then pull out any neighboring weeds that I see. Anything in here that's broadleafed is a weed. Yeah, unfortunately that's buffalo grass right there, but it died. This is all buffalo grass right here. And in a little bit, see, I can't get all these without pulling out the buffalo grass. A little bit earlier in the year, before the buffalo grass started greening up, I sprayed this with both 2,4-D and glyphosate. You can see a lot of these weeds are dying from that, but they just keep on coming. And buffalo grass is kind of sensitive, so you don't want to spray that with 2,4-D, or you don't want to spray anything. You want to keep with glyphosate. So we can't spray either one of those anymore, and hand pulling can take forever. So we'll spray this with Quinclorac. Quinclorac is safe for buffalo grass, but it kills most broadleaf weeds and a good amount of grassy weeds. It probably won't kill this right here. This is a grassy weed. You usually have to take care of those in the early spring. Before the buffalo grass starts turning green, anything that's green in here, if you spray it with glyphosate, it'll kill that. But if the buffalo grass isn't green yet, it won't do anything to it. But it's a little late for that now, so we're going to spray the Quinclorac. Yeah, that came out real easy. And like I said, I come past here a lot, and I'll go through and pull a dozen weeds or so, or more than that. But it's early spring and it just rained, so we have a huge flush of weeds. They're just all over the place, and now is the best time to get at them before they get a little bit too big. If you look around, any given spot will have dozens of little weeds, and there's no way I can get through here and hand pull all of those. This is second-year buffalo grass, and it's filling in really well. And you can see it's got these runners, stolons, and they'll fill in like this area right here real soon. This will be nice, dense buffalo grass by the end of this year. And like almost all perennials, especially prairie grasses, they're doing their best after 3 to 5 years. So this is going to look really good at the end of this year, but even better at the end of next year. I'm going to be planting the whole rest of this triangle a little bit later this year. That's going to be a really good video. You're going to have to watch that. And before I can do that, I have to kill all the stuff that's growing down there. So I'll be spraying Quinclorac up here on the established stuff, and I'll be spraying glyphosate down here on the weed grasses and nurse grasses. That'll be in a different video. Today we're going to deal with this. Now we're going to head over and mix up some Quinclorac, and on the way I'll show you another thing you can do to keep the weeds out of your short native grasses. This stuff here is Blue Gramma. You can see it greening up here, here, here. I guess it's doing okay. This did not do as good as the buffalo grass, but I don't want all buffalo grass. Both of these grasses only get 6 to 8 inches tall, and Blue Gramma is really beautiful. It has like eyelash seed pods. But I sprayed this stuff earlier to kill the cool season grasses like this, but these must have just came up. So I can't spray glyphosate on this area. You can pull them if you can, but you may damage the Blue Gramma doing that. That didn't, and neither did that. But up here, we have an area where you can't hand pull it. We have Blue Gramma growing in this whole area. It's especially dense right back there. And then we have this nurse grass that's growing amongst it. It's too late in the year to kill that. So what I'm going to have to do is get in here and cut that down low so it doesn't produce any seeds. Get down here and you can see it better. Yeah, this is all Blue Gramma in here, and this is going to shade it out real quick. I could probably pull this. Yep. But I'm going to spray the Quinclorac on this broadleaf stuff, and I'll get in here and chop that off real close to the ground. Once it's chopped off close to the ground like that, I may be able to get in and spritz it with glyphosate. It all depends on how close the Blue Gramma is to it. Yeah, see, we got it right there, but I may be able to spray that anyways. All right, let me show you the last area, which is the side of the hill there. And then we'll mix up some Quinclorac. This is all Blue Gramma as well. And I've gone through here and hand weeded a little while ago, so it's not very bad. The grasses are a lot harder to deal with than the broadleaf stuff. The Quinclorac will take care of the broadleaf stuff, but the grasses, it's only going to kill a certain amount of weed grasses, and a lot of these grasses are not considered weed grasses. Yeah, it's a little easier to hand pull this stuff in this area. Okay, yeah, let me show you this real quick. I'll hand pull that. Well, I can hand pull most of this stuff probably. Yeah, we have, oh, I can hand pull that. We have Blue Gramma right here, and big old weed. Yeah, see, we got Blue Gramma right there. That's a problem with hand pulling these weeds. Until your short native grasses are well developed, it's real easy to pull them out right along with the weeds. Okay, let's go mix that up and get this stuff sprayed and cut the tops off that stuff right there. I have probably a half a pound of Blue Gramma seed left over from last year, and I'm going to plant that in these thin spots here. This is what we're going to be spraying today, but I should mention this real quick. This is a pre-emergent, and we're going to be spraying this in a week to 10 days, and that should keep the vast majority of future weeds for this year from coming up. At some point, you just don't have that many weed seeds there, and you can just go through and hand weed, and then at some point even further down the line, you can let it naturalize, and the weeds just aren't going to grow in there. You'll get various native plants growing in with it, which is just fine, but you won't get the weeds. Okay, but this is our focus today. All right, I have about a gallon of water in this 2-gallon sprayer, And the Quinclorac, we'll start with that. I thought this was dry, but it still had a little bit of water in it. The Quinclorac is like tiny little noodles. I'll show you that. And it doesn't, well, it dissolves, but it doesn't stay dissolved as good as it should. So you got to shake it really well and shake it as you're spraying. So 1 tablespoon per gallon of the Quinclorac, and then 2 tablespoons per gallon of the methylated seed oil. I'll put links to all this stuff in the description. Wow, busted. Luckily there's not too much in it. So 4 of these, trying to get it so it doesn't drip all over the ground. Four of those. And then a little bit of indicator dye. And I get this stuff by the gallon, but you can get it, I believe, pint, half pint. Oh, what's with this cap? There we go. Make sure you pour this stuff sideways, or you're going to get it all over the place. This blue dye, if you get it on like the side of your house or something like that, it will fade away. Fades a lot quicker in sunlight than in shade though. So you got to shake this really well. Then fill it up to the 2-gallon mark and shake it again. And then, like I said, yeah, I hate when that happens. And it'll wash off, but it'll take a day or two to do that. Kind of sucks. That's the problem with these pressurized sprayers like that. Just shaking it caused that pressure. That doesn't happen with electric sprayers. There's no pressure inside the tank. I'll go wash off my hand, fill this up to 2 gallons, and we're almost ready to go. Alright. Like I said, shake it one more time, and then go start spraying, and shake it while we're spraying as well. I almost forgot this. On the first spray of the year, I generally add a little bit of lawn food, which is, for the most part, just nitrogen. Let's see what the 3606. So it's got a little bit of potassium in there as well, but for the most part, it's nitrogen. What I do, you're supposed to use a tablespoon of this per gallon, but on these short native grasses, they don't really like all that much fertilizer, so I do it half strength. And I don't fertilize them at all the rest of the year. Alright, we'll shake this up and get going. We're going to go along the bottom of this hill and then come back along the top of the hill. I have a nice long wand on this. We'll get some of this, get rid of the water. There we go. And like I said, this dye goes away pretty quick. I'm spraying all of the grasses that I think are weed grasses as well, like these here. on the off chance that this will kill it, but chances are pretty good that it's not a weed grass and it's not going to kill it. Hopefully you're seeing this, but it's basically just spraying. Yeah, there's no way I would have the time to get in here and yank all this stuff out by hand, and I would miss most of it. That right there is a nurse grass. It's actually not going to kill it, but I went ahead and sprayed it anyways. Gave it a little boost, which probably wasn't too smart. This area right here is pretty thin, right in this area, because of the oak tree above it. I'm going to plant some sedges there in a very short while. The sedges are all up, and I just need to go transplant some. They're everywhere in the woods. I can transplant hundreds of them, and the woods would never know. This area right here, I really should get back in here and spray this with glyphosate. I already did it once, but you can see I have a few more things that I gotta spray. I'm hoping that the Blue Gramma is gonna start growing in this entire area, which is why I started by planting it along the top here. The seeds will wash down, and then every year I'll kill the cool season grasses early in the year and late in the year while this stuff's dormant, and eventually I'll have all warm season grasses. Once this whole area is stabilized and naturalized, I can plant native cool season grasses as well. But I don't want to do that until the warm season grasses are well established. The majority of the native grasses are warm season. With this broadleaf stuff, you want to spray even the tiniest little thing, because in a week it'll be a big monster. And again, in a couple weeks I'll be spraying this entire area with Prodiamine, which is a pre-emergent, and that'll stop all of the weed grasses. Well, it'll stop any weed from growing. See this stuff right here? I have no idea what any of this is, but this should kill it if it's a weed, unless it's a grass that this stuff doesn't kill, like Blue Gramma, but it could be a nurse grass seed as well. But we're going to find out. Oh, and another thing about this Quinclorac is you want to either water heavily the day before or do it after a good rain. We had an inch of rain yesterday and everything's kind of mushy here, but that's what you want to do. You want to do it after a good rain. And I'm guessing they want you to do that because of the take-up. The plants will take it up really quick if they're actively growing from a rain like that. That would be my guess. None of this stuff here was planted yet, and I don't have the time to plant it this year, so we'll see what grows in here. If it's a lot of weed grasses and stuff, I may have to come and kill it later on, but I don't have the seed to plant it. But I definitely don't want a patch of weeds growing, because that'll just dump a whole bunch more seed. All right, we're gonna go along the top here, and then I'll get back with you over by that patch of Blue Gramma right there. And I only want to spray this stuff where there's native grasses growing with weeds amongst them. In areas like out in here and stuff, I'll spray 2,4-D. That'll leave the grass and kill the broadleaf stuff. This stuff is too expensive to just spray all over the place. You got to use it just on the targeted grasses. Yeah, lots of broadleaf weeds in here though. Got to keep shaking this stuff. It looks like I might have to mix up another 2-gallon batch, but that's okay. Not a lot of broadleaf weeds here. It's probably because I sprayed this with 2,4-D earlier. This is big blue stem right here. Got some Indian grass, and there's a good amount of little blue stem in here. This area is beautiful a little bit later in the summer, once the native grasses start hitting their stride. Okay, and that brings us to the buffalo grass. We'll start at the top, go all the way to the other end, come down the middle, go back and forth as far as we can reach with this sprayer, and get rid of this nasty stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to mix up another gallon, or another 2 gallons. And like I said, you should only have to do this for the first couple, maybe 3 years. That'll get rid of the perennial weeds. And then it's just any seeds that end up here, which won't be many. And you can hand pluck those or just let them grow. All right, I'll get back with you, somewhere over here when there's something different to tell you about. All right, this is working out pretty well. I sprayed the entire patch of buffalo grass, and there's a little left, so I'm going to spray these shorter grasses that are popping up in the bare areas. They are probably not buffalo grass, and I'll spray these edges. Like I said, I'm going to go through this with glyphosate, and I don't want to spray my buffalo grass. This is buffalo grass right here, and I have no idea what this stuff is. I don't think it's buffalo grass. It's probably foxtail. Our goal in this area, well, basically everywhere, is to get rid of the foxtail completely. It's an invasive weed. Well, it's an invasive weed grass, but It usually only attacks an area that's disturbed like this. Once you have established grass, it'll pretty much go away. All right, working out real good. Yeah, you can see this is all buffalo grass coming through here, and this is likely weeds. If it is foxtail, this will kill it. Foxtail or any of the crabgrasses. It's a little early for crabgrasses, but could see some this early. Yeah, this is working out real nice. Creating a nice clean demarcation line where I can come through and spray my glyphosate. And that is about it. So, like I said, I'll come back in probably a week, 10 days, something like that, and spray this again. Then I'll spray it with the pre-emergent, which should stop most of the weeds from growing the rest of the year. And then we'll be spraying this area with glyphosate to kill everything. So, like I said, I'll spray this one more time with the Quinclorac. Then I'll spray the pre-emergent, and that'll stop most of the weeds from growing for the rest of the year. Any weeds that come up, I can hand pull them. The buffalo grass itself grows by stolons. It sends out runners, so the pre-emergent isn't going to stop that from growing. So the buffalo grass should fill this area in really nice this year. This will be a little more sparse because it'll be the first year planting, but it'll be really cool to see the difference between the 2-year planting and the 1-year planting. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell for this Blue Gramma and buffalo grass. You really need to spray some Quinclorac, at least in the first, I would say 3, maybe 4 years. You can mow it down short, which is going to kill a lot of the stuff and stop a lot of the stuff from going to seed, like I'm going to be doing with this nurse grass here. But a lot of this other stuff, like this right here, I don't even know what kind of weed that is. If you mow it down, it'll just grow a smaller version of itself and go to seed under the blade height. Foxtail will do the same thing. Foxtail will send out a seed head right at ground level and drop that seed on the ground. So you want to kill the foxtail and not try to mow it away. You're never going to be able to mow it away. There's going to be a lot more videos on short native grasses this year, the Blue Gramma and the buffalo grass, including several videos on planting the buffalo grass. I'll be planting it over there and in several places in the prairies over that way, and I'll be planting it in the entire dwarf orchard there. It's going to be a real interesting year for the short prairie grasses. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it'll help the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.